So welcome to today's fitting, here with Katie, who's a Fox Hills member, fairly kind of developing your golf game.
Yes.
So fairly, would you say new to golf or?
Beginner golfer.
Beginner golfer.
Yes, it's been a year. Exactly this month.
Okay, yeah.
Since I started my journey properly.
And in terms of with where you're at in terms of playing, is there anything swing-wise you're working on at the moment, or is it more a case of getting consistency of the game to get out on course and enjoy it?
Yes, so the aim is basically to get on a bigger course, get my handicap and actually enjoy the game on the big course.
Yeah.
Get consistent with my driver. That's what I need.
So, mission for today, get the driver working.
Exactly.
Okay, we'll see. One more will be good. One more good. And again, swing path is absolutely perfect. 0.2 of a degree. So, like we were saying just before we started, the direction, the line, the swing's really good. Okay, so. It ultimately just looks a little hard work. So saying like the line of your swing, like some of the warm-up swings, is absolutely on line. Swing path is great, path 0.2, so it's literally dead down the target line. But you look like you're having to fight the club a little bit to get it through. So what you probably find is your best shots are really good, but a slight miss gets punished really badly. It's sort of all or nothing kind of setup.
Yeah.
But you're delivering the club on a nice line. I'm going to add in a couple of the warm-up swings as well, just to make sure all the data's batched together. But every time you modify something here, it takes ages. So. But you're putting the club on really nice lines, which is ultimately, from the player's point of view, that's you're doing your job right.
Yeah. I need my club to do my job.
Well, yeah, it's a bit like if your club's not with you, then it's not necessarily representative of what you're doing with your swing. So I'm just going to look at those ones as well. So from a swing line point of view, okay, one got a little out to win there, but actually path-wise, the solid lines to the swing are all really, really good, really neutral.
Nice.
But you look like you're having to really work to get the club through, which means that you come off balance. So when you talked about keeping your or kind of managing your tilt, you've got to kind of work the club away and work the club back. So it's hard for you to stay centered and balanced. And with golf, balance is so important. From a performance point of view, players who can stay balanced normally that helps a huge amount, because then you can hold your posture and you're moving the club around a stable frame. Whereas if the club's falls and you come off balance, then your posture changes, the swing plane changes, and then the club face goes all over the place as well. So ultimately, if I can get the club complementing how you're moving, like at the moment the tendency is to miss just a little bit to the right, where as you turn through, the club gets back behind you, so the face is laid open, and then you're having to force it to come through. So if we can lose a little bit of dead weight, so the shaft weight at 50 odd grams isn't that light. There are some shafts at 35 grams. Okay. So proportionally, it's on the stronger half. So it's just making it hard work for you to get good results out of it. So if we look at the averages for some of those shots there, your angle of attack is 2 degrees up, really good. Yeah. Path's 1.5 from in to out, really good. Yeah. But they're going right because the club's just not with you through the ball.
I see.
And that may be where we mentioned earlier on about where you're gripping the club. Gripping down will make it easier because it will swing less heavy. Shortens the lever a little bit, makes it easier to get the club through the ball. So it'll be interesting as we go a little lighter whether that means you don't have to go down the shaft quite as much. It might be that a slightly shorter length just makes it more reliable. Okay. And you know what, technically you might lose a little bit of club speed, but if it's straight,
then that will work.
Then it's a gain anyway. So what I'm going to do first up is I'm going to start looking at shaft weight. I'm going to bring shaft weight down. and see at what point it starts to kind of work with you rather than like banging your head against a brick wall. But it's why the good ones are really good, because a really strong move, you fetch the club through and off it goes, and it's like, okay, wow, that's great.
Yeah.
But it's a hard game, and if it's hard to get the best out of it, then that's quite hard to improve. In principle, we should be able to help the driver improve a lot, much quicker.
I want this to feel effortless.
Yeah, and it's not at the moment, so yeah, we can definitely help with that. Yeah, so gone similar loft to Katie's current driver, but I've got our shaft weight down from, this one's sort of 52, 53 grams down to under 40. So let's go, there's no point going too subtle with the change. Let's make a big difference and see where we get.
Yeah, it's interesting because of the length, you're able to sort of manage that a bit better, aren't you, to a certain extent.
Okay.
Damn.
Should feel quite different.
Yeah.
But let me grab it. Let me just see.
Okay.
Let me just drop some weight off and just start.
Okay, I'm going to tee it up a little bit more. Just bring the tee up slightly. Club speed's up a little bit,
Okay.
which is good. Let's just bring that up. But definitely, so what we're not seeing, which is a good thing, is what we, with that straight away, is it's moving with you more. So with this one, you can see it drop behind, and then you've got to heave at it to get it through the ball. Whereas with that, you're staying, you're not having to fetch the club anywhere near as much.
That's good.
Which,
Positive.
look, where we drop the amount of weight, it should be the case.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take the weight up a little bit. Okay, so what's good is we found too light straight away, and whilst you see it was easier for Katie to move the club, just actually looked a little bit like there just wasn't anything to hit against. Went back up to over 40 grams, 45 in the 42 in the KBS, and much better in terms of timing. So just pushing that weight back up a little bit more. Okay.
Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, someone. I don't know.
Okay, so that's just starting to drop underneath. So the weight in this one is more down the bottom.
Okay.
So it's kind of using total weight and then weight distribution to get it coming with you. So the previous one that swung better, that one, apart from being a real cool colour, is more evenly distributed through the shaft weight-wise, whereas this one is more down the club head end. Hence it was just dropping in and catching the ground.
Okay.
So I'm going to go back to another one that's a little less tip heavy.
So if you just go 5 or so shots, just aiming at the line on the string. Yeah. You give me a second just to change the style. A little bit here. And that is good to go when you're ready. So if one gets enough information, just come see what's going on.
Okay, so notably better not having lots of weight down the bottom of the shaft.
Yeah.
So back into, still say lovely delivery line. We're back into seeing that little bit more launch. Just you're not having to kind of fall off the shot to get the club through. I think we'll watch another one or two of that, and then I'll switch that back off. I think I prefer the way that one moved. I think.
Okay.
But so essentially, from a dead weight point of view, we're around the sort of 45, 46 grams versus says 50 on it, but it's actually more like
Okay.
53, 54.
Okay.
So total weight down in the shaft, but keep the balance even through it, so that it might sound like an obvious statement, but the club's, it's more like a club rather than a kind of club head on the end of the shaft. I mean, obviously there is a club head on the end of the shaft,
Yeah.
but in terms of balancing, we don't want it to get bottom end heavy. So,
Cool.
so watch another couple with that, and I'll switch
Yeah.
it back over.
See just one more, please. Have a look at these for a second. So it looks the same size as these first, and you're now questioning that first one, because that wasn't your best as it for the swing average wise. So 83 for authority. So drop speed. You're definitely more aggressive in that tempo.
Okay. It's certainly, it's not far off.
Okay.
You can see there's more consistent flight on it. The line through the shot's more consistent. So in terms of from a, if I go on to some of the numbers here, let's just see, yeah. So kind of where so that number is the club face relative to path. So anything positive is to the right, negative to the left. So with your existing club with the Cobra here, with a heavier shaft,
Yeah.
you can see the club face is 7 or 8 degrees open. And actually with the really light one, it was a little variable as well. But then back to the balances that are better, it's 1.5, 2.5. So essentially rather than the club dropping behind you, opening the face up, and then always being a little late through, it's more naturally coming through and squaring up.
Yeah,
so
that's much
from
better,
a straightness and a fairway finding point of view, let's stick that onto, the green are actually the one that I kind of preferred earlier, that one.
Okay.
That are not outright and the longer a little bit straighter. And then the red are this one. So there's a couple up the top. I'll use the mouse so those two up there. So the better swings with this are almost as good as the best swing with that one. So it'll be interesting to go back into it to see whether it behaves itself and performs the same. But certainly with your current one, those are the shots there. Now, bear in mind, I haven't dialed in the flight with this yet either. If we can get a bit more launch, it'll carry further.
Yeah.
But the shots with your current club tend to get out to the right. So changing the weight and the balance is definitely losing the bigger miss to the right.
Oh, we've got more on the other side.
Okay. Okay.
It's not really like.
Oops. That went badly. That's fine. Okay, let's do this again.
Quite interesting. So this last shot is exactly the same weight as the previous one. There's a bit more weight in the bottom of the shot. So straight away, as you start your downswing, start the transition, that starts to work.
Okay.
First one.
Okay, I'm going to check something because where the weight sits in the head can have an impact. So I find any of the heads that got a lot of weight at the back, as I swing, tend to drop the face open. So I wonder whether that's happened with this a little bit. I'm going to do a little test on that.
There's so many tests.
Because actually the other head wasn't any different in weight, but you were able to square it off better.
Okay.
Whereas both of those went. So the first hit was good.
Yeah.
Again, lovely swing line, but got the face open. So it got height. So if we can keep that kind of, we can get a similar height, but get the ball speed you're getting out of some of the shots with this, then that translates into a lot more distance.
Okay.
But we don't want it to go high and right.
Yeah, exactly.
So go onto a head where it's not quite as heavily back weighted. Okay, like that.
Okay, okay, okay. Ooh, I like that too. That looks very nice.
Okay, I'm just going to take the tee down a little bit. That just got up a little.
I see you around sort of between 65 to 68 grams, I think. A bit heavier in that first one, so that's what I gave you.
Okay. So I don't mind saying it's catching a little high on the face.
Yeah.
So just losing a bit of ball speed. But like the first one you hit there, we've got a little bit more flight. You got really good contact. So that 1.5 number, ratio of ball speed to club speed, and 1.5 is as good as it can be. So really nice hit. We've got more flight. We've started to get more distance.
Nice.
That one just popped up off the head a little bit. Again, your swing line's great. I caught a little high on the face, so it popped up a bit. But so you can see even your carry-wise, that's almost as far as a really well hit one that's a bit lower. I like where we are on the shaft weight, kind of mid-40s, even balance. And then tested some different heads with different weight positions in. So we need launch, need loft, but we don't need heavy back of the head, which, yes, it gives it forgiveness, but it actually for Katie, it doesn't help the way it swings. So high loft and a more moderately weighted head.
Jumbos are pretty expensive. Yeah. So, I mean, what size gloves do you wear when you play? Large. I mean, a bit bigger isn't going to be a bad thing, but I mean, jumbo is nice. So, you just hold it for
Okay. So definitely a good thing being a little bit shorter, but I still think so what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually take a little bit of length off this shaft.
Okay.
Because I've got another one round the side that I can leave this length, but actually it makes sense for me to make this a little bit less long, so it'll be 2 moments. Okay, that still swings really well.
That sounded good because my ear.
Okay.
I could hear it in my ear.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Nearly got him. Nearly got him.
Has that happened before?
Yeah.
I would be famous after the shot.
Not when he's been filming or sat there, but there have been times where there was someone in the other bay last week, and I nearly got hit as it came back off the. Yeah.
Oh my God, this is funny.
That's why we got padded cushions there. You're absolutely fine. So you can say that one was never going right. Okay. See.
I think I kind of backed up after my last shot.
Yeah.
I think I just get a bit like, oh.
So it's an interesting one. So no matter what I do with the length, you do grip down. So just do one gripping a little further up. Just about just so you can go down a little bit. Yeah, because you were right down the bottom of the grip on the last one.
Okay.
And so what it does is if you go, obviously the weight of the club doesn't change, but if you go from here down to there, it shortens the lever, it swings lighter.
Okay.
So
maybe it is my habit a bit.
there's a little bit, yeah, and probably because it would just have been easier to get results when you were starting playing. The shorter shaft is just easier to make work. Now, it doesn't mean you have to grip right at the top of the grip, but it's probably better to be, instead of right down the bottom, kind of a small amount from the top.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay.
A little bit right, but that's still fine. Okay.
Just because it's not much, it's the extra, like an extra gram in that. But as you start to change direction,
I don't mind it seeing it stay a little bit right, because it's not like it's 7 or 8 degrees right and heading off the planet. That's just starting a little left and fading, and then the more confident you get, see that's at 61 miles an hour, the more confident you get, the more effort you put in, you're then going to square it up a little bit more. So that's where we can build in for that little bit of gain in confidence and positivity with the club. So
is that your favorite one so far?
definitely so far. There's one other head I want to get just to see whether that, because that one allows us to not have loads of weight at the back.
Okay, is that one,
So I'm going to get one of it. Might be, if it's not on this side again, we've got a couple of bits around there I keep having to go and get. I might have to nip around and get it this side. But yeah, there's one other head I want to check with.
Okay.
Okay, swing.
yeah, so I mean that's in a good spot there. Good, nice combination of launch and spin. 3,273. Technically, if you're not hitting that, it's a little bit. Thank you. 178 carry. See that line there, it's really nice and straight up face. So based on what we're doing here, line doesn't need to change. If it was a little bit more this way, a bit more that way, it can change a bit further.
So that was a lovely hit. That one, good strong swing.
Thank you.
The only shame of it is, the only thing that's actually dropping your distance. That was actually run quite a long way, but it hasn't carried that far because it's come out low.
Okay.
And you see, if you hadn't done that one, that would have given me a quandary, because actually that's really good ball speed. That was a nice strong swing as well. The Titleist head picks the flight up more, which actually from a carry distance point of view, so both the first one and that one are lovely hits, but they're quite low. So you lose carry distance, which then, okay, when it's firm in summer, it's running, it's great. But then you get to winter and it just doesn't go anywhere. So, so we've had less ball speed, but 7 or 8 yards more carry out of the Titleist head. So I'm going to swap that back on.
Okay.
Just a little bit of that. Just going to go to that. Just going to take a little bit more head weight off. Katie swung the ping head really well, but it came out flat. This head launches better, but it was a little bit heavier. So if we get the head weight down, hopefully it'll swing the same way as the ping did and flight it up a little bit more. There you go. There you go. So, and there's still a little bit of ball speed to come. So there's a bit from a strike point of view, it's a little higher at the face. But, so there's still another 3 or 4 or 5 miles an hour more ball speed to come out of that, which is about another 10 yards. But because we've now got the launch angle, so high up the face takes spin off, but because you've got the launch angle there, the carry is up. So if I compare that to, I'm just going to go into this just to show you the numbers. And this is why I prefer this head than the ping. So the ping, when you struck it well, was really good. But if I take that one that was hit really nicely and that one that was hit really nicely, and then I'm going to just use the couple that are flighted. I just want to, yeah, so those two in particular. So with the ping head, the 2 hits that came out flatter came out with good ball speed. So actually, 4 or 5 miles an hour more ball speed. That's a bit of a strike thing, but it's 11 degrees of launch angle rather than 16. So it's carried 10 yards less, but they've averaged the same distance. So it's much better to have that extra carry distance because then it's more consistent distance.
Yeah.
You're not reliant on the ground to get it running out.
Yeah.
You start to get the same quality strike on that head, so we can tee it a little bit lower essentially with that head than the ping. You put the 4 or 5 miles an hour more ball speed on and get that the same. Well, that then just pushes the distance out even further. Whereas the, if I can get the mouse to work, the really strong shot with a ping, 100 miles an hour ball speed, which is great.
Wow, okay.
But it came out at 10 degrees of launch, so it still carried, even with that much more ball speed, it still carried less than that last shot carried. So 107 ran to 153, 116 ran to 150, and that had 7 miles an hour less ball speed on. So generally for every mile an hour ball speed is about 2 yards, roughly. So if you got that flight and 100 miles an hour ball speed, then you're looking at 125, 130 yards of carry, and then 160 total. But that's a much, much better flight out of that head than the ping.
So if we would narrow 2 clubs to choose between, it would be between that one or ping. But for you, that one
the ball
is
flight
the
out of
winner.
that one, it gets
Yeah.
it up in the air better, and that's just going to mean you could hit the ping really well.
Yeah.
And it's
But, yeah.
coming out to that one for a flight. I think we said the ping was 7 or 8 yards flight height. That's up at 10, 11.
Yeah.
It's 50% more flight. So that just means it's that much easier and with less ball speed. So you get the same ball speed, then you're going to put another 4 or 5 yards of flight height on it. So it just stays in the air that much longer. So
Yeah, I understand.
without that launch angle, so if the ground's firm, it runs out and you achieve good distance. But if you get the launch angle, you get the carry, and then it's much easier to get consistent yardage. So without having to really strike it, you're still getting reliable carry out of it. Whereas if you don't quite strike it at 10 degrees launch angle, it just falls out the sky.
And the club path minus 1.2 in this case just doesn't do
Basically
much.
dead square. Yeah. I mean,
okay.
if it's 2 or 3, 2 or 3 degrees is great
It's okay.
at any level.
I see.
If it's 6, 7, 8 degrees, then you're playing with a lot of shot shape. But like that one had 1 foot of shot shape, which I think is sort of pretty acceptable, and finished 6 foot offline. So it's a really, and that goes back to what you're saying about what's most important, or path, because that's just a really direct, accurate ball flight. So
I see.
you're not having to aim for it to start on one line and finish on another. You can just aim where you want it to go.
Yeah, of course,
But we know there's a little bit more ball speed to come out of that. That'll just come as you get used to the club and start to kind of trust and let the swing go. But that launch angle is why I'd go for that head versus the ping. So actually, some really good changes there. Quite a good change in total club weight, but actually, really, it's getting the club displaying what you're doing with the swing. At the moment, you're having to fight this a little bit too much, which is then means your good ones are really good, but the misses are a little bit more of a miss. Whereas you're much easier to swing, and definitely should see some good results from that. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Great job. Seriously. I enjoyed the fitting. It was a lot of choices.
Great.
Half of them I don't understand, and I
That's all
forget
fine.
already.
Yeah.
But it's good fun. I recommend it for everyone. Seriously, it's really
But
good.
I think what it does also show is that how important, because your swing line technique's in a good place, that you don't have to have perfect swing lines to get fitted, but actually just from a general I would always say for golfers generally, if you can get the fundamentals right, it really sets you up to improve at a quicker rate. You're not fighting it. So you've done some really good work getting the swing line good. So well done with that. Well done to coach.
Yeah.
And yeah, should see some good improvements from the drive. But thank you so much for agreeing to be filmed.
Thank you.
If you like
Thank
this,
you
check
so
out
much.
some of the other fittings we've done as well. Like and subscribe and all the other bits. And so watch this one, watch the next video, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.